Hi everyone, welcome to another tutorial on using Excel. This video introduces us to the useful Boolean function or Boolean operators. Boolean operators are critical to logic, electronic circuits, set theoretic problems, and are useful in many more areas. There are three primary Boolean operators that you will work with. These operators are OR, AND, and NOT. So let's begin with the OR operator. Starting off, let's take a look at the syntax of the OR operator. So the OR function or the OR operator has the following syntax in Excel. So it's the keyword or the function name OR followed by a list of logical conditions. So it's OR followed by a list of conditions. Let's say this is condition 1, then you have condition 2, condition 3, and so on. So this is how the OR function is formulated. Now to understand this a bit better, it is useful to look at something which is generally referred to as a truth table. So on the top right, you can see that we have a table. This is usually called a truth table. We'll take the simplest example in which we only have two conditions and we are applying the OR operator. So as you can see, in column K, you have the Boolean values of condition 1, and in column L, you have the Boolean values for condition 2. Now the Boolean values mean you can only have true and false. So you have four combinations using two conditions. You have a true true, a true false, a false true, and a false false. So let's understand what the result of the OR function would be when it is applied to this scenario. So when both the conditions are true, OR returns a true. When one is true and the other one is false, the answer is still true. The only scenario in which OR returns a false is when both the conditions are false. Now it would be worthwhile for us to remember that you will not always be dealing with only two conditions. In case you had three conditions or 4 or 5, the key thing for us to remember is the only case in which OR will return a false value is when all the conditions are false. Even if a single condition is true, the entire result of the OR function will be true. This is a very important concept when working with OR, and it's important to bear this in mind. Let's also delve a bit deeper into OR and look at it from a visual perspective as to what it means. So before we do that, let's read this example or this problem, and then we'll go over to the OR function and try and understand it from a visual perspective. So we have a question here. The question is, the following data in the table is for a company ABC Incorporated. This year, ABC Incorporated only wants to increase the salary of those employees who have a tenure of greater than 5 years or who live in the city of Concord. Identify the employees who are eligible for salary increase this year. Now, one very good thing about the Boolean operators is that they are often stated in common language in a way that mimics the formulation within Excel or within any other programming language. As you can see immediately that the keyword OR shows up in the problem statement. And that will be one of the indicators that will help you understand which Boolean operator to use to solve this. So in this question, what is required is that two conditions are looked at. The first condition is employees whose tenure is greater than 5 years. For simplicity, let's go ahead and try and underline this. This is our first condition or condition 1. The other condition that we need to satisfy is who live in the city of Concord. And since these two conditions are joined by OR, let's take a look at the truth table. So in all those conditions in which the answer is true, we can say that the final result meets both the criteria. All right, now let's take a look at a more visual depiction. So in terms of a visual depiction, we have something which is a traditional Venn diagram. The circle on the left represents all those employees whose tenure is greater than 5 years. The circle on the right represents all those employees whose city is Concord or whose residence is in Concord. When you use the OR function, all the data points which fall either within the first circle or the second or lie in between, all three are included. as a part of satisfying the criteria for OR. So let's go back to this and let's try and apply this in practice. So let's say we start off with the OR function right here. And then let's enter the first condition, which is employees whose tenure is greater than 5 years. So where do we have the tenure? We have the tenure in column D. We want that the tenure should be greater than 5 years. Now let's take a look at the second condition. The second condition is those employees who live in the city of Concord. So let's say this needs to equal Concord. All right. So if both the conditions are satisfied, or if even one of them is satisfied, the answer should come out to be true. So let's see what happens. Okay, in the first row, it's given us the answer is true, and we can understand that both the conditions are satisfied. The tenure, in fact, one of the conditions satisfied. The tenure is not greater than 5 years, but the city is conquered, and the answer is true, as expected. Let's drag this formula and then check one of these cases. The next one is false. Let's understand why. The tenure is not greater than 5 years, and the city is also not conquered. So the answer is false. Let's look at the third one. The tenure is greater than 5 years, so that qualifies one condition. The city is not Coronado, so the second condition false. But remember, for OR to work, you just need one of the conditions to be true, and the final result is true. And that's what we have here. So this is the way OR function works. Now let's move on to the second important Boolean operator, which is AND. So the AND operator, and again, it would be instructive to look at the truth table. In the AND operator, the only combination which gives you a true value is when all the conditions are satisfied or all the conditions are true. This again, as you will, if you contrast and compare this with the previous OR operator, remember in OR operator, even if one condition is true, the entire thing is true. In the AND function, unless all of the conditions are true, your final result will not be true. So let's take a look at the truth table right here. Taking the simple case of only two conditions, if condition 1 is true and the second condition is also true, the final answer is true. And then in the next 3 rows, we can clearly see that even if one of the conditions is false, the entire end result is going to be false. Now, this is how this is going to be applicable in terms of this data set right here. So in this problem, what is required is this company is going to only increase the salary of those employees who have a tenure of greater than 5 years. So that's our first condition right there, and who live in the city of Concord. Okay, so you can see that we have the same two conditions as the last problem. The only difference is the operative word here is AND. The Boolean operator for us has changed. So let's see how this is applied in practice. So we start off with the AND operator. And what is the first condition? The tenure is greater than 5 years. And the second condition is the employee lives in the city of Concord. All right. So the answer to the first row is false. It is obvious. One of the conditions is not meeting here. So tenure is not greater than 5 years. So the result is false. Let's drag it for the other rows. So we already see one false. Let's take a look in another false. For the second row, as you can see, both the conditions are in fact not satisfied. So the answer is false. Let's take a look at one true condition as well. So in this case, in row number 15, you can see the tenure is greater than 5 years and the city is conquered. Since both the conditions are being met, the final result is true. So this is how the AND operator works. Now, to look at this AND operator from a visual perspective, again, let's resort to the Venn diagram right here. As you can see, first circle on the left is tenure is greater than 5 years. The second circle on the right is city is Concord. Unlike the OR function, where the OR function is a combination of both of those circles and even the intersection area, the AND function is only going to be true for a data point which falls in this shaded and dashed area right here. This is the intersection area for both of these data sets, and it's only the intersection area which will give us a true result. Remember, all the conditions need to be met. Okay, so that was the AND operator. Now let's finally take a look at another operator, which is the NOT operator. The NOT operator is like flipping a switch. So if your condition is true, then NOT operator makes it a false. If it is false, then it makes it true. So an example of this is, let's take a look at this problem statement that we have here. So again, it's the same company, ABC Incorporated. This year, ABC Incorporated only wants to increase salary of those employees who do not have a tenure of greater than 5 years and who do not live in the city of Concord. So the problem statement's been reversed. So let's understand. The operative word do not will give you a clue that the condition's been reversed, and we'll have to use the NOT operator. And this is the base condition. So let's mark it. This is the first base condition. Our second base condition here is do not live in the city of Concord. Let's mark that as well. All right, so now both the conditions are marked here. Now let's see how does this work. So, and also bear in mind that they are joined together by the keyword AND. So let's begin. So employees who do not have a tenure of greater than 5 years. So let's code that. So the keyword is NOT for the NOT operator or the NOT function. And the condition is greater than 5 years. So we are saying the requirement is that the employees do not have a tenure of greater than 5 years. So that's why we're using the NOT function. And we're specifying the base condition as tenure greater than 5 years. Now, what is the other thing we do not want? The other thing we do not want is do not live in the city of Concord. So this can be codified like this. So here what we're saying is, give me the condition that the city is Concord and then reverse it using the NOT operator so that it only gives true for those cases where the city is not Concord. All right. And using the AND operator, we have put them together. Now let's go ahead and see how this works for us. So in the first case, it gives the answer as false. Let's understand this response. So as you can see, that we do not want a tenure of greater than 5 years. In this case, the tenure is not greater than 5 years, so that's fine. And we also did not want the employee to live in Concord. However, in this case, we can see the employee lives in Concord. That's why the answer is false. So now we have checked it in both ways. Intuitively, this answer is false, as well as by the logic that we've applied using the AND and the NOT operators, the answer is still false. Let's drag it and check a couple of more examples. The next one is true. So this should be interesting to look at. So we want the tenure to be not greater than 5 years. Very well. Here we can see that the tenure for Emma is 3. So this is good. And we also want the city not to be Concord, and the city is Corona, which is obviously not Concord. So yes, it satisfies the required condition and the answer is true. Let's take a look at another false value and understand what that means. So we want that the tenure is not greater than 5 years. For Olivia, the tenure is 6 years, so the condition fails. And the city is not Concord, it is Coronado. So yes, this condition is satisfied, but since the first one's failed, the final answer is a false. So this is how the NOT operator is used. The NOT operator, as stated before, works like the flipping of a switch from true to false and false to true. So these are the 3 main Boolean operators that we wanted to cover today. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time.